Hey, Insider here, and I wanted to check in with the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, the Charlotte Hornets, who are 11 and 41, 13th in the Eastern Conference. They have an offensive rating of 109.8, 28th. Defensive rating 121.7, 30th in the NBA, and a net rating of 11.9, also 30th in the NBA. They are essentially one of the worst teams in the league. So why do I want to focus on them? Well, because they actually remade their team at the trade deadline, at least their bench, by trading out PJ Washington for Grant Williams and then bringing in guys like Seth Curry, Vasilij Micic, and Trey Mann. They actually took out all the G League level players. Also, David Davis Bertans was effective in the game that the Thunder played their first game after the trade deadline. They've been playing a slew of subpar NBA talent between Bryce McGowan's, JT Thor, Nick Smith Jr., Leaky Black, Nathan Mensah. Like, these guys really shouldn't be in NBA rotations, but they were all playing like 15 to 20 minutes a game for the Charlotte Hornets. So let's just take a look at what changes I've made to my roster to reflect that. So, Micha Man I brought up to a 75 overall as they are manning the point guard spot while LaMelo Ball is out with injury. Worth noting, they also cut Ish Smith and Frank Ntilikina, who previously were point guards. Ntilikina really didn't get to play much at all this year due to injury, but Ish Smith, if I recall, he didn't even spend training camp with the team. They kind of signed him out of desperation because they just needed a backup point guard. They ended up realizing after, especially after Ntilikina got hurt. So, and Ish Smith is also a player who I wouldn't consider him NBA caliber at this point. He was a third string. He's been a third string for most of his career, to be honest. But Micic, he looked really good in the game that they played against the Memphis Grizzlies, which the Hornets won. They snapped their 10-game losing streak. They had not won a game since trading Terry Rozier. They traded Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and then decided not to play Kyle Lowry. So that there is a talent-related reason why they went on this losing streak. They haven't had LaMelo. They haven't had Mark Williams. But then they were also playing these guys who just aren't NBA players. Now they at least have some guys who can play. Micic, of course, was the two-time EuroLeague MVP, signed with the OKC Thunder, but was never expected to be a good fit. They always kind of signed him with the intention of trading him later, and that's what happened here. So he comes to a Hornets team that, with LaMelo Ball sidelined with injury for most of the season, he has a prime opportunity to step in and really establish himself as an NBA rotation player. He came off of the bench in this one. Trey Mann started. Trey Mann also had a pretty solid game, if I recall. He had how many assists? 9 assists, I think. Yes, 9 assists in the starting lineup. 9 points, 9 assists, but also only shot 4 of 11 from the field. Micic, on the other hand, had 18 points and 9 assists, but he looked really good running the offense, and I was able to find some of the lesser talented Hornets players for easy baskets with no look passes and whatnot. So definitely a really good ad. I would expect him to maybe his rating to creep up a little bit to like 77, 78, especially if his 3 point shot comes around a little bit. I believe he's only shooting 27% on the season, but was a little bit better than that in Europe. He was an 87% free throw shooter in the Euro League last year, so definitely a good shooter. And could also where he's really struggled most from efficiency wise has been in the floater range, only shooting something like 30%. So that would be another area. He's shooting 65% on layups, but he's not creating a ton of those off the dribble. He is most of the layups he gets are kind of like crafty, like he's able to just get enough space to get by the defender, but he's not really taking guys off the dribble or anything. So I've got him at an 80 layup. I don't think he's going to go too much higher. And you can see that LaMelo Ball also kind of a similar type of finisher, more crafty than like blowing by guys or anything. And then Seth Curry, they brought him in from the Mavericks in the Grant Williams trade. Seth, of course, the son of Del Curry, who played for the Hornets in the 90s. So nice little homecoming for him. He didn't have a great game, 3 points, but played 20 minutes. for the Hornets, so I anticipate that he's going to continue to get like 20 minutes a game. They don't really have much of anything at the two guard. They did trade out Terry Rozier and brought back nothing in return. Cody Martin has been the starter there since they traded Rozier, but he's been awful offensively, so I wouldn't anticipate that maintaining necessarily. Although they don't actually have any other options either, and he is their best two guard. I'm not exactly calling for Seth Curry to start, but it's maybe an option when LaMelo gets back if they want to max out on offense, because obviously they're the 30th. They're the number 30 defensive team anyway in the NBA, so they might as well at least try to outscore everybody, right? I dropped the rating for Nick Smith a little bit, as he's been pretty erratic and efficient. He's kind of in like that Malik Monk role, but he's a very good shot creator off the dribble, but doesn't really run the offense at all. And it is worth noting that even though he's got his second position at point guard, they didn't run him at point guard a ton, even when they had like such limited options on this team. So that's not a great sign for his future prospects. Maybe would be better off served getting some time in the G League. Bryce McGowan's, I think, is going to be out of the rotation moving forward with Curry in town. And then Davis Bertans, he actually was solid, also hitting 3 of 5 from 3-point range, scoring 9 points. I've got him at small forward because that's actually what he played. He actually played a reasonable amount there last season at small forward. Has a power forward size, but given just the roster makeup of this team, where they don't have another three on the team after Brandon Miller and Leaky Black, it kind of makes sense for Bertans to just roll out there and be the three. Again, this team was already the 30th worst defensive team in the NBA, so playing Bertans at the three isn't gonna hurt them too much, but it should help their offense a little bit because he is a very good 3-point shooter. And that's something that they definitely need more of. They don't have a ton of shooting on this team since they traded out Rozier. Brandon Miller, for what it's worth, he's been playing really well of late, picking up more of a scoring load with Rozier out. He's averaging 19 points on the season. And let me just see what he's been doing over his last 10 games. Let's go his last 14 games, because he did miss 2 games prior to that due to injury. He's averaging 22 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shooting 49% from the field, 40% from 3. So I could probably get some of his ratings just a wee bit higher, probably bump him up to an 81 overall. And of course, he's in prime position to continue getting lots of shots, while LaMelo's out, but just down the stretch of another lost season in Charlotte. Miles Bridges, he opted not to get traded. He said that he was going to decline all offers, as he has the ability to do that because he signed his qualifying offer in restricted free agency. Obviously, it's financially motivated, as the Hornets will maintain his bird rights, and any team that would be acquiring him would not have his bird rights. So basically, it makes Bridges, if he doesn't return to Charlotte, he's able to get a better contract in a sign and trade. Phoenix was one of the teams that was linked to him, so we'll see where he ends up. But otherwise, he's averaging 22 points per game, 46% from the field, 37% from 3, 86% from the line. Basically regained the form that he had in 2022 before his air quotes suspension in 2023, where he didn't play the entire year. And honestly, he should probably rate higher than an 80, as a 2K's rate formula for power forwards is really bad. Basically, all the power forwards rate 2 points lower than they really should. Let me demonstrate. Yeah, so he rates 82 as small forward. Pretty much every small forward or power forward, every power forward rates higher at small forward. They should just copy paste the small forward formula and apply it to power forwards, because it's really annoying when you go to, I've got Jason Tatum only at a 92 overall, and he's a 94 at small forward. Or where's Kawhi Leonard? Kawhi Leonard's a 93, but he's a 94 at small forward. So hopefully that's something that 2K rectifies. but that's why Bridge is only an 80 overall, but I think 82 would be appropriate for him. But anyway, Grant Williams, he was the other big addition for this team, swapped out for PJ Washington, and he had a pretty solid game. And worth noting that he actually played a fair amount of backup center in this one. They did not use Nathan Mensah in the rotation in this one, so that's something to keep an eye on moving forward. But the most important thing is he kept JT Thor out of the rotation. JT Thor just hasn't developed in the last 3 years as a player. And then Mark Williams, obviously, he has been out for the last few months with a back injury. There was some reporting a few days ago that he'll be reevaluated next month for a potential return. It's starting to look like it might be a season-ending injury because if you're talking about him maybe returning in March, it's going to take him some time to ramp up, and then at that point you only have a month left in the season, and what are the Hornets even playing for anyway? So, it's kind of a murky situation. It's getting close to probably a season shutdown. That's more or less actually what I expected to figure out when they reevaluate in March, but we're not there yet, so we'll see. Hopefully he gets better because he was having a really good sophomore season. Nick Richards has been holding down the fort as the starting center in Mark Williams' absence, but he's definitely not. I wouldn't say he's like starting caliber or anything. So just having another guy like Grant Williams who can at least space the floor and give them another big body, some versatility and whatnot. That's been at least useful. But let me know what you guys think about the Charlotte Hornets. Do you like what they did at the deadline? Do you think they're going to continue to be the worst defensive team in the NBA? Do you think that they can move up in the standings to, let's say, 12th or 11th? They ain't going for the play-in, but they would have to go on a pretty good run in order to move up in the standings. But they might be able to now that they have an actual bench rotation. So we'll see what goes on with them. If you like the content of this video, support the channel by hitting the like or by subscribing, hitting the like on the video as it does help the algorithm. And if you want to get access to my roster spreadsheet, send me subscribe to me on Patreon at patreon.com/real2krosters, or shoot me a line on Twitter, a direct message on Twitter, and I can give you the details on how to get access to the file. And I'll see you guys later tonight after the Monday night games post Super Bowl. Peace.